Okay, well, good evening, everyone. My name is Ronnie Knox. I'm the superintendent of our SHSU charter school system. I'm going to introduce my staff in just a minute, but if you just signed on, we would like for you to type your name in the chat box along with the student that belongs to you so we can keep track and make sure that we're able to reach out to everyone. As you're looking, I'm going to ask these people to wave because we have quite a few people on the screen. But first, I want to introduce our outstanding principal, Dr. Renee O'Neill. Renee, if you could give us a wave. Renee helped me start this school district 4 years ago, and she's been wonderful, and she'll actually be leading our meeting tonight. I also want to introduce Rebecca Carruthers. Rebecca, if you can give us a wave. Rebecca is our PEAMS clerk, district PEAMS coordinator, and she makes sure that we have all of our records, that your enrollment packet is complete, and the medical records, things like that. So she'll probably be reaching out to you after this meeting. And then last but definitely not least is Joseph Mesa. Joseph, if you could wave for us. Joseph is my administrative assistant, and he's also the voice of SHSU. When you call on the phone, Joseph is your first point of contact, usually. So, and he also monitors the charter school email address. So he can help you and get you pointed in the right direction as well. We're so excited that you chose SHSU Charter School for your child for next year. We really want to be parent friendly, and we definitely want to be student friendly. So we're evolving. Of course, in the life of the pandemic, we evolve even quicker and faster, but we are excited that you're with us. And I'm going to turn it over to Dr. O'Neill, who will walk us through the meeting tonight.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Can you hear me okay? Yes? Okay. Thank you for joining us tonight, and thank you for choosing SHSU Charter School. We are just delighted to have you join us. We look forward to meeting your children and working with them every day. I want you to know that we have some of the most outstanding teachers that you will come across anywhere. They are dedicated. They want what's best for your kids, and they look at each individual child and their strengths, and they make sure they just help them grow stronger and stronger each and every day. We do quite a bit. The first topic that I'd like to cover is parent communication. And we always say, Dr. Knox and I, is that we would rather you have too much communication and hear too much from us than to wonder what's going on. So you will hear from us quite often. Sometimes Dr. Knox will send emails out, sometimes I will send emails out, but mostly you will hear directly from your classroom teacher. We use an app called Seesaw, and once you have your Meet the Teacher night, you will get all the information on how to log into Seesaw. You can directly message your teacher any time of day. Of course, if they're teaching, they will not be able to respond right away, but just know that you have open communication with your teacher at all times. At the beginning of each week, you will receive a newsletter that explains exactly what your child is going to be learning that week, what his homework will be that week, what are some things that you can do to support your child that week. On that newsletter, it will have upcoming events, volunteer opportunities, and basically anything that you could possibly wonder about, it will be on that newsletter. If there's anything important during the week that teachers need to get out to you quickly, they will send those messages through Seesaw. So it is very, very important when you have your Meet the Teacher night that you get that information. We suggest that at your Meet the Teacher night, you go ahead and get your Seesaw account all set up. So as the teacher is explaining it, you will know exactly what to expect on that first day of school. Our teachers do a great job of making sure you know what you can do at home to support your child. So if there's ever a time that you feel like you have questions or you have concerns, know that you can directly reach out to your teacher. You can also connect with your teacher through email as well, but Seesaw is something that they are just constantly checking. So I would recommend you get that set up as soon as possible. If you have not turned in your enrollment packet, which I heard from Rebecca today, and she said most of you have already turned in your enrollment packet, so that's awesome. That's one less thing that you have to worry about. But if there are any items missing from your enrollment packets, Rebecca will be emailing you those specifics, so you'll know exactly what pieces you need to get to her so that you'll be ready to go on the first day of school. And as I mentioned a couple of times, we will have a Meet the Teacher at the beginning of the school year. And remember, our beginning of the school year is in July. We are on a year-round calendar. If you haven't looked at the website yet, we have our approved calendar up for next year. So you can go ahead and take a look at that calendar. Let me give you the exact date that we will start school. Students' first day of school will be July 21st. The teachers have a few work days and staff development days before that, but our students are actually going to be welcomed into the building on July 21st. At your Meet the Teacher night, you will get more information about that closer to the day, but you will be able to meet the teacher. The teacher will tell you a little bit about how she organizes her classroom, what homework looks like, if you need to communicate or make any transportation changes, that will be shared with you at that time. It's very important at that time if your child has any medical concerns or is taking any medication or has any allergies, that you make sure you share that with the teacher at that time, so we are aware of that on the first day of school. We will have Meet the Teacher the week before your student actually starts school. We are still discussing and still kind of watching the situation with the pandemic to determine if that's going to be in person or if that is going to be a virtual event. This past year, we did have to do it virtual, but it worked out great. The teachers said all the parents participated, and there's still that chat feature where you can ask specific questions to the teacher. We're hoping that the trend is going to continue and that we can welcome all of you into our building for Meet the Teacher. But of course, on the other side of that, we want to make sure we keep everyone safe, and we want to keep everything as clean as we possibly can. So that information will be coming later on as we get closer to the start of the school year. I did mention briefly our calendar. If you have not looked up our calendar, I encourage you to look that up on our website and maybe print a copy and put it on the refrigerator because we are unique. We are a year-round school, and we have found not only through our own research with our students, but through academic research that the year-round calendar works best for students. It gives students and teachers kind of a break at the end of each 9 weeks so that everyone can refresh and get ready and get rested for the next 9 weeks. We find that having the shorter time during the summer allows children to not lose sometimes those academics that when there's a longer summer that they sometimes lose. So that is another advantage to year-round school. If you would like to plan a vacation, a family vacation, if COVID starts allowing us to travel, then it is great during that fall break. A lot of our teachers like to take advantage of that fall break. It's the last week of September and the first week of October. And you can get some pretty good deals on vacations because everyone else is in school. So that is another advantage to our calendar. If you travel for the holidays, we do get off almost a month for the winter holidays. So that is a great thing to have. So not only do you have time before Christmas, but you have that holiday time off, and then you have some time to recuperate after the holidays as well before we come back to school. And then for spring break, we have 2 weeks for spring break instead of 1 week. So definitely look at that calendar. It is awesome. And we have found since we started using it that everyone just absolutely loves it. The next big topic that I'd like to cover, and I know that's always a hot topic with kids, is our dress code. We have a traditional dress code. We do not have uniforms, but of course we do expect our kids to come to school and be dressed appropriately for PE, because we do have PE 3 days a week. Sometimes we go outside, sometimes we play inside, but it's best that children are prepared and dressed for PE with tennis shoes. And if girls, younger girls, or any girls, if any girls decide to wear a dress to school, we do ask that they wear shorts underneath their dress. You know, depending on what kind of game we're playing, we certainly want them to be dressed appropriately. But we do have PE 3 days a week, and we go to recess 5 days a week. We feel like getting the kids outside, hopefully getting them some sunshine and getting them some activity is very important for them to have every single day. So we believe that recess is important. So we teach those PE skills 3 days a week, and then during recess, they are allowed to go outside. They are allowed to have free play and talk and share with each other. We do have a smaller playground. If you've actually been to our facility, I know in the past I've been able to do tours, but with COVID, I haven't been able to do that so much. But I do encourage you to take a look at on our website. We have videos of each one of our campuses so that you can take a look at where the kids go to recess and where they play outside and where they go for PE, and you can take a look at some of our classrooms as well. And that goes for all 3 campuses. We have those videos available. The next thing I'd like to talk about is attendance in our school hours. I'm sure you're aware we do not have buses, so all of our children are dropped off in the morning and picked up in the afternoon. Our drop off is from 7:45 until 8 o'clock. At 8:01, we do start counting children tardy because we want to take advantage of every instructional minute. And so we start at 8 o'clock. Actually, some teachers start at 7:45, getting that warm up going. So I strongly stress the importance of your child being to school on time. Again, drop off is 7:45 to 8 o'clock at each campus. We have a great system in place where we get you in that line and we get you out of that line and on your way very quickly at arrival and dismissal. All of our dismissals last about 10, maybe 15 minutes, depending on the weather, but we get you in and out of there very quickly. Dismissal happens at 3:30, and that is for all grade levels. So you will get instructions on Meet the Teacher Night on exactly which side of the building you should line up on and where you need to be at dismissal and arrival. But our dismissal at all 3 campuses is complete by 3:45. So no, you don't have to park in that car rider line for an hour and get your spot. We get you in and we get you out quickly. Volunteers and PTO. Of course, with COVID, our volunteer program has had to be scaled back some, but we do encourage volunteers in our school, and we want you to participate in our schools. We ask that you do go through a criminal history check and a volunteer check with the university. Because we want to make sure we know everyone that's coming into our building is safe. And so we do provide that there's a form actually on our website that you can go ahead and complete that if you would like to as soon as July comes around so that we can get that going for you. And even if even if maybe you have an older child with us and you're participating in this meeting, just make sure you know that every year you have to redo that application. They don't transfer from year to year. You have to redo that volunteer application. Our report cards they are very unique actually. Our report cards are standard based grading, which means that instead of an A, B, C, we give a 1, 2, 3, or 4. We want kids to know that we appreciate them trying and that learning is a process. So it starts out with a 1, and our goal is by the end of the school year that every child has 4s on all of their objectives. When you see your grade report card, you will notice that there are objectives for the whole year on that report card for each grade level. So you can see not only where they're starting, but where we want your kids to end up at the end of the school year. And it also helps you to keep track of what they're doing in class, what they're learning in class, and ways that you can help support at home during homework and at other times. Let's see. Dr. Knox, those are all the topics I had on my list. Are there any questions in the chat that I need to follow up on?
Let me ask Joseph, you've been monitoring the chat. Do we need to follow up on any questions?
At this time, I haven't seen any, but if anybody has any, please, send them over and we'll get them answered.
I did just think of one more item. I knew I would. Since we are very small, we do not actually have a nurse on campus. So that's why it is extremely important that you make our teachers aware of your child's allergies or medications or any medical conditions. What we do to make sure we provide a safe environment for our students is all of our teachers are CPR trained, all of our teachers are first aid trained, and we have them recertify every single year to make sure they are current, to make sure they remember how to handle every situation. And we also have an AED on campus. So we are definitely prepared for any kind of medical situation that would come up. But I think it's important to know that we do not have an actual physical nurse on our campuses. Our lunches at each campus are a little bit different as well. That information will come to you at your Meet the Teacher. So make sure you do ask about that, because at each campus, it is a little bit different of how we do lunches. Okay. Have any questions come through, Joseph?
Yes, we had a couple come in. Let me start with the first one. Our first one is, what happens if a student has a 4 in the beginning of the year, like they understand the year goal in the beginning?
That is what makes us such a great place, because part of our charter is we do what's called multi-level grouping. So if a child comes in, let's say a first grader, and he's already reading on a second grade level, we are certainly not going to let him stay there. Our teachers pull groups and they work individually with students, whether they need interventions and more support, or if they need enrichment. There have been times that we have students that are just excelling way beyond their grade level, and we might send them to 4th grade for their math instruction, or we might send a kindergartner to 2nd grade for their reading instruction. That is something that makes us very special and different from a traditional school, is that we're able to meet our kids where they are and either help them fill in those gaps or provide enrichment for them. While I was talking, I thought of something else. We also provide, as part of our specials rotation, we provide PE, as I already talked about, but we also do a coding curriculum, computer coding. We think it is a very important skill for our kids to learn. And as they get into the upper grades, we start introducing robotics to them. And it's a great program. It's a program that, every kid has different strengths, And physical education may not be their strength, but learning how to code on the computer might be, or music might be, or art may be. So that's why we make sure we provide a variety of those activities during specials to introduce our kids to every avenue. And also we do focus on STEAM learning, where we incorporate science into all of our subject areas. Many of our teachers on Fridays, they do a STEM Friday where they do a specific project where the kids have to, they're given just random materials and they have to make a boat that will float, or they have to make a parachute that will fly. And I'll tell you what, kids come up with some pretty creative things. But our kids look forward to those Fridays and making those STEM projects as well.
So our next question is, does the Cypress Trails facility have any after-school care available through the church?
That is a great question. And yes, I actually met with the pastor there, and right now they do have an after-school care, and they are actually revamping that program because they want to make it that time more beneficial for the students. That time lasts up until 6 o'clock, and they will continue that for next year. But we are looking at making that program where kids can actually get some one-on-one help if they need help with homework, or if they just need someone to read with, because we certainly don't want a child, you know, everyone's work schedule is different. And sometimes kids have to stay later than what we would like for them to stay, but we want to make that time quality time. So I have been working with the Cypress Trail staff so that when we do incorporate that after school program next year and extend it into next year, it will be more educational for our students.
Our next one is kind of more to the training. Is, are all the I'd say teachers trained in EpiPens? Yes,
that is a great question. All of our teachers are trained to use EpiPens as part of their first aid training. They've been trained every year, and the most important thing that you can do is to notify the teacher if your child has an EpiPen. And it is, I know they are very expensive, but if that is something your child needs and you're able to, it would be great if you had one that you could actually leave on campus. So it is with the teacher at all times, instead of having to transport that back and forth home and to school each day, if that's something that you're able to do.
Our next question is, how many students per class?
Another great question. These are great questions. We limit our class size to 20 students. That is part of our charter. That's something that we believe in. That's something that, whenever we created the charter, we felt very strongly about. And that is for all classes, not just kindergarten or first grade. That is K through whatever grade level the campus goes through, that we keep our classes capped at 20. And even this year, where we've had to do some remote learning alongside in-person learning, we still kept the class limited to 20 because we feel like that's very important. And we also have on each campus, we have 2 paraprofessionals this year, but next year we're looking at having 3 paraprofessionals per campus that go in and out of the classrooms all day long to assist the teachers. They assist with teaching specials, and they also can pull out small groups. But we also have 3 paraprofessionals on campus. And I'd also like to add, because I know with some charter schools, not all charter schools require their teachers to be certified. We do. As part of the Sam Houston State University College of Education, we want to make sure we are providing master teachers for your children. So all of our teachers are certified, and for the most part, majority of our teachers have 5 to 10, sometimes more years of experience.
So our next question is, if a student transfers out at some point to a public school, how do they convert those 1, 2, 3, 4 grades to A, B, C, D, F system?
And that's a great question as well. And whenever you are able to see our report cards, I think it will make more sense to you, because how it transfers is on our report cards. We list every single objective that your kid needs to learn. Let's say a kindergartner. So every objective from day one until the last day of school that your child needs to know will be on that report card. So actually, our report cards give a traditional school more information than a regular school, coming from a regular school, because not only does the teacher see how a child is performing in each objective, but that teacher can see what objectives have already been taught, what objectives are strengths for your child, what objectives may need more interventions. Our report cards actually are much more detailed than just saying, okay, your child makes an A in reading. No, we feel like you need to know more. You need to know exactly what their strengths are in reading and what needs to be worked on.
So our next one is, if we were to move, would it be possible to move to a different SHSU charter school campus that's closer?
If we have an opening, many of our campuses and grade levels do start out the school year with waiting lists. As a student that was already enrolled on one of our campuses, yes, you would have more priority trying to transfer. You would get at the top of the wait list, but it would not be an automatic transfer. It would all depend on if there's room at that other campus that specific grade level at the other campus as well.
Our next question is, does the Brighton School have before school care, or what is the earliest you can drop off your child?
Yes, the Brighton School, we are actually in the same building. We just kind of have a wall in between us. But you have the daycare on one side of the building, and then the charter school is on the other side of the building. And they do provide before and after school care. In addition, they provide some camps during the weeks that we're off, since we have a different calendar. Some parents are not able to stay home with their kids during those longer breaks that we have in our calendar. So the Brighton Daycare does create some fun camps for the kids to do during those weeks. And all that information you can get from the Brighton Daycare itself. Dr. Knox, I can't remember, what's the earliest that they can drop off at the Brighton Daycare in the morning?
I believe it's 6:30 or in the morning at the Brighton Daycare, at 6 at the Green Gate Daycare, and then we do in the sanctuary at 7:15 at Cypress Trails.
All right, so our next question is, does the school embrace device-free education?
Well, we are a school that we believe strongly in STEAM education, and part of STEAM is technology. We believe children need to be exposed to that technology. We use iPads in the lower grades. We have Chromebooks in the upper grades, but that technology does not replace our instruction. We have direct instruction every day. We have teachers pulling small groups in reading and in math every day. Your child is never going to be, given an iPad and say, go do your reading instruction for today. You will never, ever see that happen. We do have some technology programs that we use as reinforcement learning for those skills that may need a little bit more practice for students. And, you know, as I said, we include coding as one of our specials rotations, because truly just about any career path that a child in this day and age is going to take is going to involve some type of technology. So it's important that we make sure we provide a well-rounded curriculum for all children. And that does include technology, but as I said, that does not take the place of direct instruction.
So that's all the questions that I have as of now. I do want to remind you, please put in your name and your student's name, who you're here for, if you haven't already done so. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my number and email in the chat. And if you have any questions or you know, want to contact me, please contact me there and I can get with you.
And Dr. Knox, his email address is on our website as well as mine. So, you know, if you have questions, curriculum questions specifically that you would like to ask, please feel free to email me. And I will certainly get back with you. I know I always, after a meeting, you know, 5 minutes after it's over, I think, oh, I should have asked that question. So please don't hesitate. And I can actually put my email address in the chat, but please don't hesitate if you have any questions to reach out and ask us. That's what we're here for. We want you to feel comfortable. We want you to have all of your questions asked and know that you picked the best place for your kid.
Rebecca, is there anything you wanted to add before we close out?
I just like to follow up with the on the enrollment packets. If you haven't done so already, please try to get those into us. We can't put your students we can't assign them a teacher until we get the paperwork in to put them into the computer. So get official, please get that paperwork to us.
A couple of closing comments I want to make just so that next year will go smooth for you. The only way we have to contact you is what you put in on your enrollment documents. If your email changes, you need to let Rebecca and Joseph know. If your phone number changes, let Rebecca and Joseph know. One thing that Dr. O'Neill and I are adamant about is who gets to come and pick up your students at school. One of the documents you'll complete is a pickup form, emergency pickup form. If Uncle Billy's name is not on that form, he's not getting to pick up the kids. We're very strict about that because we feel like it's our duty to keep them safe. Now, we may call you and say, hey, somebody's here to pick up Susie, are you sure? And like that, but that's a one-time thing. So we're always available for those changes. We understand that those changes occur during the school year. You're not going to get in trouble for calling us too much, but we do want to keep the most current and accurate information with you. Okay. And then as we close out, once again, I just want to thank you for putting your trust in us. I know the most precious commodity anyone has is their children. And so we don't take that lightly that you are trusting them with us. We're available for you to reach by email, phone, and then like I said, Dr. O'Neill said, Seesaw is the best direct communication to your teachers, okay? We will be sending out the Meet the Teacher nights probably sometime in May. So keep looking at your emails and keep checking our website as well. Once again, thank you so much. And if this meeting is being recorded, if you know of someone that couldn't attend tonight, if you'll let Joseph know, he will send them the link, or if you just want to review it again, let Joseph know and he'll send you the link as well, okay? Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. We look forward to seeing you in July.
See you later.